Thank you for joining us today for the Build Apps with Microsoft Graph highlight session. Before we start, I have a few quick things to go over. Please ask questions using the live YouTube chat. We will be taking those at the very end. In the chat, I will also be sharing some links to the Reactor Meetup page and monthly newsletters if you are interested in checking out other sessions we have coming up. Today's session will be added to our Reactor YouTube page in 24 to 48 hours. And finally, I will share a link to our Reactor survey. If you have a few minutes, we greatly appreciate your feedback. I will now pass it over to Ayca.
Thank you so much, Dion. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our channel. Welcome to Reactor and welcome to our session today. So specifically for today, we will do a recap for Learn Together, Build Apps with Microsoft Graph. We had a great event last week, and we are really excited to share what happened in Learn Together and also what was the sessions about and where you can find each and every session. My name is Ayca and I'm a cloud advocate at Microsoft. So today, each and every session I will walk you through and talk about is actually available on demand. If you visit ayca.ms/M365 YouTube, you will be able to find all session recordings available there. So the live session on demand is available on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and visit if you're interested in watching Learn Together on demand. So let's get started. The very first session we covered in Learn Together event was Developer's Guide to Microsoft Graph. Again, this session is available on our YouTube channel. Either scan the QR code or go visit the link I shared here. So you will be directed to the YouTube video automatically. So what we covered in our very first session was everything about Microsoft Graph, how you can use Graph in your apps, and what is the guideline to consume Graph in basically every single app, like either JavaScript, .NET, Python kind of development app or a low-code, no-code application. So this session was delivered by myself, and then we just walk you through what is Graph, how to use Microsoft Graph, and where you can learn a lot more information. So just to give you a little bit overview, as you know, every day you join in meetings, read emails, chat with your colleagues on Teams, and maybe create some tasks on your to-do list. All these actions are actually data in Microsoft 365 Cloud, and these can be accessed using Microsoft Graph. That means Graph is a single unified API which gives us the data from Microsoft 365. So in our session, we basically talk about Microsoft Graph in general and explain what it is and how you can use it. I would like to highlight that Graph is not related with GraphDB or QL. Microsoft Graph is unified API to access Microsoft 365 data and intelligence. You can call Graph API in your apps and access hundreds of different data sets available in Microsoft 365. Some of the examples are in the slide, like mails, chats, files, and these are the most popular data sets. As I mentioned, we have hundreds of different data sets available in Microsoft 365, and all of them are available for you to access using Microsoft Graph. So in the sessions, generally, we just walk through a basic scenario where salespeople are looking for files, people information, checking emails, chats, meetings, and so on, before they communicate to the customer. Then, and I actually play different roles during the session. I was a developer consultant and he was a technical manager in a sales company. And then we just walk everyone through how you can leverage Microsoft Graph to get all these data, because all these information like people, file, mail, chat, meetings, and a lot more can be reached out using Microsoft Graph API. If we just quickly take a look how it works, basically, Graph exposes REST APIs to access data in Microsoft 365. Let's say you'd like to get calendar data or any other data from Microsoft 365. To do that, you need users' consent, because you're trying to reach out users' private data. Of course, we want this process to be secure. You can leverage from Microsoft Identity platform that provides good selection of modern authentication solutions. And one of them is Azure Active Directory. I'm sure some of you already heard Azure Active Directory. It's a very popular authentication solution. By using Azure Active Directory, you can build apps for your users, and they can sign into your app. Then they will be authorized and access their own data using Microsoft Graph API. Basically, your users, customers, whoever you're building your applications will need to log in the app. Then they will be able to see their own calendar events, files, chat messages, and so on. And you can build this authentication system in the app using Microsoft Identity Platform. So another great thing about Graph is that developers don't need to learn different APIs for each and every product, like files, API, meetings, API, chats, API, and so on. Developers will only need to use one single endpoint to access hundreds of different data sets, and which is graph.microsoft.com. If you want to call insights or files or people, the query will be customized, but it will always be graph.microsoft.com. So let's check out what are the steps we need to follow to build an app for Microsoft Graph. We provide you 5 steps to build apps with Microsoft Graph. First, always check the documentation. Microsoft Graph has a great documentation and shows you how you can leverage from Microsoft Graph APIs and how you can gather data, what are the capabilities, and so on. And if you want to practice hands-on, there's a great tool called Graph Explorer, which is an open public platform. You can go to ayca.ms/g-explorer. You will be directed to Graph Explorer, and this is the place you can try, consume different Graph APIs, and then see what are the results, what you can do with it, and you will explore all opportunities and different types of data there. Then, next step, when you learn about Graph and now you understand how you can leverage from Graph, the next step will be choosing the right tool and platform for us. Microsoft Graph provides good selection of SDKs and the platform support. Either you can use our SDKs like Python, .NET, JavaScript, Java, so on and so forth. So there's a huge selection of SDKs, or you can consume Graph in different areas, like you can consume it in a bot framework. If you would like to build a chatbot which helps you, let's say, manage your calendar, or you can consume Graph in low-code, no-code environments like Power Platform or other different areas as well. Next step is going to be configuring Azure Active Directory, because as we mentioned, we need user consent. We need user to log in to our app, and then they will agree, they will give the permission to us to reach out calendar information, and then user will be able to see their own calendar file and so on, data. And after that, the last step will be consuming Microsoft Graph directly in your apps. So just to give you an idea how Graph looks like and what kind of data you can get, we will quickly go to Graph Explorer. This is what we did in the real event as well. I already opened my tab here. This is the Graph Explorer. If you go to ayca.ms/g-explorer, you will be directed to Microsoft Graph Explorer. As I mentioned, this is a free, public, open source tool, and it's a great place to practice about Microsoft Graph. Let's quickly go to sample queries and click any of the queries you want. Let's say I click my profile, and here automatically the query changed. And now it is just me. That means when I run the query, I will get the response preview. And response preview is about me. Everything about me. Let's say my name, Ayca, content engineer, my email address, and so on and so forth. By customizing the query, you can get different data about yourself or your groups. For example, if I want to get my photo, as you see, we customize the query. I mean, I just clicked here, but you can customize manually as well. It is just me/photo/value. This will bring me my picture. If you want to see your emails, again, it is me/messages, and these are all the emails I have in my mailbox. Again, let's say trending items around me. These are all items, let's say Excel, PowerPoint, different files around me. And let's say my to-do task lists. I need permission for this. I didn't give it. My manager. Okay, not found. I don't have a manager in this org that I created. So as you see here, everything is about me. Everything is about the user. Whatever we run here is always about the user, the personal data. And you will see if you search anything else, like if you want to get calendar data, for example, if you search under sample queries, you will be directed to Outlook calendar, and you can click on all events in my calendar, and then this will bring me my calendar. You may realize 2 minutes ago we got a warning like we need permission to show you this data. To do that, you can go to modify permissions, and here, as long as you allow the permissions to the Graph Explorer, you will be able to get your data. Again, if you would like to play around with your own data, here is the place you can sign in, sign out. If you sign out, there you can play around with this API by using sample data available in Graph Explorer. Otherwise, if you authenticate, then you will be able to see your own data available here. So whichever data you like, calendar, teams, files, so on and so forth. So it's a huge list of selection of data sets. You can search under sample queries, and you will get it under the response preview. As you see, this is just in JSON format. What we need to do next to be able to get this data, let's get back to the simple version, my profile, graph.microsoft.com, version 1 me. To be able to use this data in my own app, what I need to do is just adding a snippet of code. Here, we can easily do that because for each and every graph query, we have code snippets. Let's say for me, I have code snippet. If I go to code snippets, I can grab this code, paste it in my app, then I will be able to get exactly the same data from my application. This is for C#. If you're using JavaScript, Java, Objective-C, you can again get these data, different code snippets to get exactly the same data. We also have a toolkit component for different graph queries and adaptive cards. And these are the ones you can also use in, let's say, for the adaptive cards, you can consume in your bot, or for the toolkit component, you can consume it in your web app. So if you're looking for ways to test your application, or let's say test graph APIs, or if you want to work and discover more with Microsoft 365, you can register to the developer program. You can click on Join Now. Let's quickly click on it. When you click on Join Now, this will direct us to M365 developer program. This is totally free. It gives you Microsoft 365 tenant, and you will be the administrator of this tenant. You will be able to create different accounts, and you will actually be able to give any permissions and whatever you need directly using this tenant. Why is it important? Because sometimes you may not be able to give the right permissions to be able to test apps. That's why if you register and join this program, you will get a free tenant and you can test anything with Graph and other M365 development tools. And last but not least, I want to mention under Get Started, you will find the selection of tutorials. If you click on any of them, let's go to .NET Core, for example, you will be directed to Get Started page for .NET Core, and you will see code samples, so on and so forth, everything available for .NET Core. Okay, let's get back to our slides. So this was everything about the first session. As we mentioned, we have 5 steps. We first need to check the documentation, then the Graph Explorer, and then we have to choose right SDKs and the platform support. And we need Azure Active Directory configuration, and the last step is just calling Graph in your own app. Let's move to the next session, which was about Microsoft Graph Toolkit. Again, this session on-demand video is available under ayca.ms/Enter65 YouTube. You can also scan the QR and you will be directed to the session video. In this session, we presented with Beth. She is a part of Microsoft Graph Toolkit team, and they actually have a great solution for the developers who want to consume Microsoft Graph in an easier way. So let's quickly check out what is Microsoft Graph Toolkit. So in the session, we discover Microsoft Graph Toolkit, which is a collection of reusable web components and authentication providers that helps you connect with Microsoft Graph. Again, 2 minutes ago, you saw Microsoft Graph APIs available in Graph Explorer. Graph Toolkit is helping us to consume the same Graph APIs and get the same data. Let's say calendars, calendar events, files, and other data from Microsoft 365. But Microsoft Graph Toolkit is actually fixing a huge problem. As you know, the biggest concern for a lot of developers is adding the authentication piece in their apps. And Microsoft Graph Toolkit is focusing on simplifying the authentication and getting data from Microsoft 365 with 2-3 lines of code. As you see in the screen, we have just 2 lines of code, HTML, and we have full UI and also authentication capability running in the background. Because everything is packaged for us, we can just use these web components to get all the authentication capabilities as well as the pre-built UI for us. So one of the most popular components is definitely MGT login, the login component, which, as I mentioned, helps us build authentication with 2-3 lines of code. But we also have other great components that help us get calendar events, to-do tasks, and many more. So let's quickly check what are the benefits of consuming Graph Toolkit, why you may consider using Graph Toolkit. First of all, it cuts development time, so developers will be able to access Graph with few lines of code. Also, developers won't need to worry about styling the data because components come with pre-built UI right out of the box. With 1 line of HTML, as you saw before, MGT-agenda, you will get the data. So MGT agenda component help us call Graph in the background, as well as data come with a pre-built UI, which is a great benefit. Also, Microsoft Graph Toolkit works with any web framework such as Angular, React, Vue, and it is compatible with any modern browser. So developers can consume components in any framework they like. Their app will work in each and every browser wherever they would like to run their app. And another benefit of Graph Toolkit is the components come with pre-built UI, as I mentioned before, and they look and feel like Microsoft experiences. However, if you would like to customize and fit the styling of the components in your app, you can totally customize the components, and you can use CSS custom properties or templating to do that. So there is a great place to discover Microsoft Graph Toolkit components, which we call Microsoft Graph Toolkit Playground. Again, this place is built for us to understand how components work, what are the capabilities, what kind of data we gather, and we will just discover the playground in a minute. So let's quickly go to MGT Playground. I'm just going to open my browser and I'll go to mgt.dev. If you go to mgt.dev, you will be directed to Microsoft Graph Toolkit Playground. So the first thing you see in the playground is On the left side, you see the list of components. The first one is MGT agenda. And then we have other components like MGT get, login. As I mentioned, it helps us build the authentication, people picker, person card, task, and so on and so forth. There are more coming, but let's see what we have in the playground. On the left, we have Canvas, and on the right, we have a place editor where we can change the component, and the look of the component will automatically be customized accordingly. So whenever I just copy paste this MGT-agenda web component in my app, this will definitely bring me the same look in my application. So we don't have any JavaScript CSS under this component. We're just consuming one line of HTML and getting the full experience of the agenda. Again, same thing for, let's say, tasks. If you go to tasks, then Canvas will automatically change, and the that task component will give this view. And we also have person card, we have people. And whenever you change anything here, let's say show max, now we are able to see maximum 5 people. If I just customize this to 3, the canvas will automatically change the view, so I understand how it's going to look. Let's do the same thing for agenda component. Let's add group by day. And now it automatically group events under the related day, and the canvas shows me how data will look like. If you want to learn more what is available under these components, how you can customize it, and what are the properties, what are the stories you can leverage from these components, on the right side of Canvas, you can click the docs, and this page will direct us to related component docs. So basically, this docs is totally about MGT agenda, and we see everything, every single thing about MGT agenda component, such as attributes. If you want to customize the way data look, let's say you want to customize as we did group by day and so on. We have properties available for agenda. We have events, CSS, and we have some stories just to give you an idea what you can do with the properties and attributes. And last but not least, all components have dark theme as well. I'm sure some of the developers will be looking for this feature. So this docs feature is available for each and every component. If you want to discover any component a little bit deep dive, then you can go to docs page right next to Canvas. So this is all about the playground. This is a great place to discover the components. You can check out some samples as well. And if you feel like you're good, you're ready, and you really want to build something with Microsoft Graph Toolkit, you have a great place to learn everything about Microsoft Graph Toolkit. We have a great Learn module, which is called Get Started with Microsoft Graph Toolkit. It actually covers everything about Microsoft Graph Toolkit. What is it? What is in Microsoft Graph Toolkit? How you can build applications, how you can consume Graph Toolkit components and providers in a real app. And you will also have an exercise hands-on lab where you will build an application from scratch, consume Graph Toolkit components and providers, and learn how you can build everything from scratch until the end. Just visit ayca.ms/learn-mgt or scan the QR code. You will be directed to this Learn module. This Learn module will take less than 30 minutes, and it's a really super quick and easy one to complete, but also it will show you everything in details, and you will learn everything hands-on by completing this module. So with that, let's wrap this session up and continue what was covered, what else is covered in Learn Together event. So the next session is covered by Bob, Waldek, and Rabia. They actually did a great session about staying on the top of your teams with Microsoft Graph. So this session is covered in 2 different parts. You can scan the QR code to reach out, part 1 and part 2. In the session, Rabia, Waldek, and Bob literally did a live coding and show you how you can consume Microsoft Graph in a real app. Basically, they build this app and show you, first of all, how to consume Microsoft Graph API to get your colleagues' information. And at the beginning, they show you how to create authentication piece so that people can click on login button and they will be authenticated in your app. And next, calling the Graph API for getting your colleagues' information, your profile information. And then they show you how to get the profile picture for people, for your colleagues. And step by step, you actually discover how you can get all these data from Microsoft 365. Of course, they start with your colleagues' information, so they get colleagues' information, and then they continue with emails by calling me/messages, Microsoft Graph API, and then they also tested out calling files. They again call Microsoft Graph API and gather files data, and at the end, they built one single hub for everything about a person. Let's say you build an application and you would like to see everything going on in your work environment. You have the files, you have the emails, you have colleague information, your colleagues' information in one single page. So if you're interested in building something similar, I just dropped the link here. You can go to this GitHub URL and you will be able to find out the exact example, or you can just scan the QR code and you will be directed to the same link and you can build this example by yourself. Again, if you want to check out the session, you can go to Enter65 YouTube channel. So these part 1 and part 2 sessions are available there. And the last session, which is one of my favorite, is covered by Rabi and Bob. They delivered the session building a personal assistant bot with Microsoft Graph. Again, the session is available under our YouTube channel. You can scan the QR code and be directed to the session. They show a great example to us how to consume Graph in a chatbot. Think of a personal assistant during your workday, help you manage your calendar, create to-do tasks, check your emails, and so on. I think that's a great project idea, and I think it's really useful for many of us in a work-life balance. And to build such application, they use Bot Framework Composer. If you check out Learn Together session, you will see that they literally build this bot live. So they show you how to build dialogues, how to embed, how to configure Graph in the bot, and so on. But to build the application, they use Bot Framework Composer. What is Bot Framework Composer? And just to give you a brief, it's an open source visual authoring canvas. Basically, it's a low-code environment where you can build bots. So Bot Framework Composer is using Bot Framework SDKs, but it requires no code background. Basically, you don't need to create any project in Visual Studio Code or anywhere else. You will just drag and drop dialogues, and you will build your own bot conversation flow, and you will call Graph APIs wherever needed. Let's say if you need to log in and gather your calendar data through a bot, let's say you log into a bot and then you ask, show me my calendar events for today. Then in this case, you may need to call Graph here. Just in the screen, in Bot Framework Composer, you're seeing that in one of the dialogues, in the begin dialogue, in one of the steps, we are calling graph.microsoft.com /version1/me/calendar, which will bring us the calendar events for the person. Also, Bot Composer have a capability of integrating your bot with Lewis and Q&A Maker, which is really great because if you're more interested in low-code, no-code environment, I think Bot Composer is a really great place to, let's say, build bots really quickly without needing much of a code experience. And also in the session, they tested their bot in a bot framework emulator. It's really easy to use. You just copy paste the URL, you're running the bot, and then you will automatically start talking with your bot. And here, they created a sign-in button, and then with the sign-in button, after they log in and give the required permission, authentication, authorization step, they started giving some data to the end user, like trending files around you, calendar events, as well as, let's say, creating tasks, deleting tasks, or checking the tasks by clicking the button, and so on. And at the end, we also see the bot running on Teams as well. So here, I think it's a great productivity solution when it comes to a personal assistant. It is really nice to be able to use bot in a work environment as well. That's why they show us how we can leverage Microsoft Teams here too. They integrated their bot in Teams, and here we see how many meetings we have for today, as well as where can we check our tasks, what are our tasks today. If you would like to see more about our task, we can just click it and be directed to more details about our tasks and so on. They call this project name Pablo. If you want to see this project and, let's say, learn more about how to build something like this using bot framework Composer, you can go to this GitHub link, and then you will learn everything about low-code development with bot framework Composer. So before I wrap up, I just want to quickly go through what we talk in the session. First of all, if you would like to learn more what is covered in Learn Together, I highly recommend you to go ahead and check out our YouTube channel, ayca.ms/enter65 YouTube. All of the Learn Together session videos are available there on demand. You can watch them, and then if you have any questions, you can drop, and we can cover that later. Again, if you're interested in learning more about Microsoft Graph, Microsoft Graph Explorer is the best place to practice about Microsoft Graph. If you're the first time, or if you want to check what kind of data is available, how you can call Graph, how you can make different queries, go visit academy/g-explorer, and then you may start calling some of the Graph APIs. Then, as you remember, we cover Microsoft Graph Toolkit, which are the easy web components which they help us consume Microsoft Graph in our apps in an easy way. If you want to learn more about components, what is available in the toolkit, you can visit mgt.dev, and then you will see what are the available components there and what are the capabilities we can consume with these components, how you can customize it, so on. If you want to learn deep dive about Microsoft Graph Toolkit, then go ahead and start working on your Learn module. You can visit ayca.ms/learn-mgt, and then you will be directed to get started with Microsoft Graph Toolkit. Then by completing this module, you will learn what is Microsoft Graph Toolkit, how you can consume components and providers available in Microsoft Graph Toolkit in your apps. And then after that, you will gain full knowledge about consuming Graph Toolkit and the capabilities. Also, if you want to see the demo available, as I mentioned, one hub, all of the data about a person available in one place, which is covered in Learn Together event, you can visit the GitHub link for Learn Together Graph demo. Then you will be directed to the full solution, and you can run and test the solution by yourself. Again, in a couple minutes ago, we talked about a bot solution where Bob and Rabia use bot framework Composer and showed you how you can build a great solution consuming both framework, Composer and Graph. So if you want to check out this solution, you can visit the GitHub link available in this screen. Last but not least, if you want to start learning about Microsoft Graph, but you don't know where to go, we have a great learn path available at Microsoft Learn. You can visit ayca.ms/build apps with Microsoft Graph, and this will direct you to a great learn path which covers everything about Graph. If you just want to start learning everything from scratch in an easy way, I think Microsoft Graph Fundamentals Learn Path is the best place to start learning about Microsoft Graph. So with that, I think I talked nonstop. Maybe if we have some questions, we can answer the questions.
Yeah, so we have a couple questions. The first one is, does it work with Blazor? And I think this came in during when you were going over the first workshop recap.
Yeah, so I think it's about Microsoft Graph. So the 5 steps to the developer guidelines for Microsoft Graph. Yes, if you would like to check out what is available for Microsoft Graph and what kind of SDKs, platform support we have, you can go to ayca.ms/graph-tutorials. Here, you will see full coverage about Graph, and you will see what are the languages, platforms supported. And if you're looking for Blazor, you can check out this simple tutorial and see how you can consume Microsoft Graph with Blazor Web. So yeah, there are some other stuff available here like Azure Functions, Bot Framework, Perl Automate. But if you're looking for an SDK or any platform support, I think this is the best place to check out.
Perfect, thank you. And then one other question from the same person. It says, does this work with MSA, i.e. personal accounts?
Yes, it actually depends on how you create your Azure Active Directory app registration. During the app registration, as you know, we need authentication and authorization in our app. And for that, we need to register an app in Azure Active Directory. There, you will have options to define what are the account types you will provide. You can either provide single tenant, which is the support for accounts only for your own organization, or you can provide multi-tenant, which will provide access to everybody with work or school account tenant. Or there's an option where you can define personal accounts plus multi-tenant, or if you just want to give access to personal, then you will just go for personal accounts. So in short, yes, there's a support for personal accounts. This is the place, this is the one you will define in Azure Active Directory.
Awesome. It looks like that might be it for our questions. I am going to quickly just show, as I mentioned at the beginning, we do have a Reactor survey at ayca.ms/reactor/survey. The first question I'll ask you is for the event code. The event code for this session is 13332. If you do have a few moments, we really appreciate your feedback. And thank you everyone so much for joining us today. And thank you, Ayca, for this great presentation.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.